Assalamu alaikum. Today, inshallah, we'll look at an example of a law in the Torah that the Talmud waters down and changes. So the law is in Deuteronomy 25, if men get into a fight with one another and the wife of one intervenes to rescue her husband from the grip of his opponent by reaching out and seizing his genitals, you shall cut off her hand. Show no pity. Now, Talmud says that this is not literal, and what's meant is that she has to pay a fine. Come and hear a proof that the verse, you shall cut off her hand, should not be taken literally. Rather, it is referring to monetary restitution. Now, Maimonides, in his introduction to the Talmud, uh, and this is translated by uh, Zvi Lempel on page 50. So, this is Maimonides. He says, altering the oral law in any way is equally as well a manifestation of false prophecy, even if the prophet is ostensibly supported by a literal interpretation of a verse as opposed to its actual meaning. For example, the Torah states that if two men are fighting, etc., her palm shall be chopped. If a prophet would claim that this verse is referring to a literal amputation of the hand rather than to a figure of speech for imposing a fine upon the woman for humiliating the man, as the oral tradition explains, and if he supports such an assertion by the phenomenon of prophecy, saying, the Holy One, blessed be He, has told me that this command and chop her palm is to be understood literally, he also is to be executed by strangulation, as well as the other false prophets described above. He is a false prophet. So Maimonides is saying here that if a prophet arises and he says, no, it actually means, the verse actually means that her hand should be chopped, like the verse says, then that prophet is a false prophet because he's disagreed with the oral tradition and he should be executed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he mentions, وَكَيْفَ يُحَكِّمُونَكَ وَعِندَهُمُ التَّوْرَاةُ فِيهَا حُكْمُ اللَّهِ ثُمَّ يَتَوَلَّوْنَ مِن بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ وَمَا أُولَئِكَ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ. How do they come to you for judgment when with them is the Torah containing the judgment of Allah? Then they turn away after all. Then they turn away after that. They are not true believers. إنا أنزلنا التوراة فيها هدى ونور يحكم بها النبيون الذين أسلموا للذين هادوا والربانيون والأحبار بما استحفظوا من كتاب الله وكانوا عليه شهداء فلا تخشوا الناس واخشوني ولا تشتروا بآياتي ثمنا قليلا ومن لم يحكم بما أنزل الله فأولئك هم الكافرون. Indeed, we sent down the Torah containing guidance and light, by which the prophets who submitted themselves to Allah made judgment for Jews. So too did the rabbis and scholars judge according to Allah's book, with which they were entrusted and of which they were made keepers. So do not fear the people, fear me, nor trade my signs for a fleeting gain. And those who do not judge by what Allah has sent down, those are the disbelievers.